Hey everyone, welcome back to Grumpy Monkey Trading, and it's great to be back. Took a little bit of a vacation there. Don't know if you saw that I wasn't making too many videos. Took the kids up to Vancouver, Canada. We did the long drive up here from California. Saw some friends and family, had a good time. Kids survived, lots of crying on the way home, but we did most of the trip without too much crying. My babies are quite young. So that was good, but looking forward to be back doing Grumpy Monkey Trading, bringing out some videos. Today we're going to do the BananaRama round, taking some stocks that Kramer looked at over the past week and seeing what their charts look like. So stay tuned. All right, our first one today is Intrexon, XON. Kramer says the stock is down way too much, and I think it's one that's too low to sell. That may be true. It is certainly sitting on a support line, and in the short term, I think it may get a bit of a bump up, but I don't know if this is the end of what we're going to call the downside, and that's for a few reasons. You could argue that there's a head and shoulders pattern here, so shoulder, shoulder, head. You could argue that this is only wave 3 of a 5-wave pattern, so 1, 2, 3, and that the more likely ultimate support line is probably somewhere down here, rising over the course of the year. So I don't think this is due for really a bounce back. At the best, it's just going to sit there for a little while, and it could certainly break that line and continue on down. United Continental Holdings, UAL. Kramer says that he likes the CEO, thinks the company is good, thinks the group is bottomed here and that it has some potential. He also knows that a lot of analysts want to say some negative things, but he is not one of them. I actually don't have a lot of negative things to say either. We're coming off of those highs, obviously, and have had a trickle down into a symmetrical triangle pattern. So that means that we have lower highs and higher lows, which you see here. Typically, those patterns break out in the direction of the original trend, which as you can see is positive. So presumably we're going to rattle around in this cage here for a little while, and then we're going to come out on the positive side. So if you like UAL, not a bad choice. Twitter, TWTR. Kramer says that he likes the pick of Dorsey as the CEO. That's who he wanted. He was hoping he'd resign from Square, which he did not, but maybe in the future he will once the Square IPO is out. Says that the product is going to be changed and those changes are going to be coming out fast and furious, but Dorsey has the support of the staff and he really does care about Twitter. If you know about me, you know that I have shares of Twitter and I've done a bunch of shows on them. Those shows are indicated by the red line. I think we have maybe 1 or 2 also out here. I've done some predictions on the future, and I've generally been pretty accurate. I think the news today and the recent two moves over the past 2 days have pushed Twitter out of its present trend package and into sort of this new territory that'll be fun to do some analysis on. You can see we have this long-term resistance line on the RSI. We bust through that now. That's great news. We bust through some additional resistance lines. This diagonal resistance line, which previously had not been broken. We're testing this one, which previously has been tested and failed. So that's an important measure. And if we can break through, then we'll be testing this resistance line here, which we really haven't done anything with since late July. Then if we go down to stochastics, you can see we busted through this triangle. I expect it's probably going to retract and try and find some support against it again, but that's positive. CCI positive. Money flow index on the resistance at this point. So we'll really see what happens tomorrow. If it's a positive day, then that's going to bust through. So really just we got Project Lightning coming. The CEO matter is cleared up. If they can just put together a half decent product and get people excited, then we should be off to the races, and I'm really looking forward to seeing where Twitter goes. Sprint S. Kramer says doesn't like the balance sheet, and the government seems to not want those types of companies to merge. If it does have a rebound, that is an opportunity to get out of it, not get into it. And I would tend to agree. This is a descending triangle. Those tend to break down, not up in this case. So I just don't see any reason to buy it. And probably you should be looking for opportunities to get out of it. Sierra Wireless, SWIR. Kramer says the group is under tremendous pressure, and I think the group is bouncing down. Prefers Skyworks Solutions. I just look at this chart, and I just have no reason to like it whatsoever. I mean, it's so much red. Move on. Gogo, otherwise known as Gogo. Kramer says, felt that the stock is too controversial. It's not guys who love it, it's guys who hate it. And he thinks there's so many other stocks out there with a great story. Why choose this one? Really, there's not a lot to say about the chart. We're in a symmetrical pattern, so lower highs and higher lows. That tends to break in the direction of the original trend, which, as you can see, is down. So if you want to go somewhere, you might want to go somewhere else. APOG or APOG Enterprises, Kramer seemed to have a lot of apathy when talking about it, as he spent the entire time talking about another stock, PPG Enterprises, when he thinks of glass, he thinks of them, and indicated they were a must-buy. When I look at APOG, I say that it's sort of in the nowhere land of stock trading, where it's broken through a major resistance line or support line. It's pinged off another support line down here, and those were huge moves with a lot of volume. So this is obviously in some downtrend, likely could be forming a shoulder here, at which point that would be a head and a shoulder, and then due for another long-term drop, but no reason to get into it, possibly a reason to short it. Illumina, LIMN. Kramer says the stock is coming down because people feel that biotechs cannot raise any more money to buy Illumina. This is the best equipment maker. You've got to take a little more of a long-term view. I do like the company. Well, it doesn't seem like many other people do, because it's not so much that it's coming down so much as it's throwing itself at the floor. Those are huge drops to be taking. It's burst out of its upwards channel here, and it is heading down at a pretty rapid pace. And I don't think that's going to slow down, at least in the short term. It may just kind of hover around this support line for a while, but certainly nothing good here. If you do believe in the company, though, and you believe that in the long term this is going to pull through, then you're looking at a decent buying opportunity. But right now, I would still wait for at least a couple more weeks before you really get in if you do believe in this stock. Kinder Morgan, KMI, Kramer says that there's been a ton of selling in this area with master limited partnerships in the pipeline space, but he still believes in this company even though there's been massive selling, and that is because of the CEO, Rich Kinder. He believes he's money. So if we look at the chart, we can see the massive plunge. The nice thing here is if you had caught it here, well done. That's a nice little recovery. But it did re-emerge over this support line, which is nice in this week, and has galloped up a little bit today, which is promising. But overall, the oil and gas industry right now is really fickle and uncertain. I think there will be a bit of a rebound, but for how long, it's unknown. So if you have a long-term perspective on something like this, maybe this is a good entry point, but there could be better days. U.S. Steel Corp. X. Kramer says that he can't be positive. The Chinese have been selling steel aggressively, so he's not really too certain what's going on with the market and can't be sure. Looking at the chart, I think the market is also reflective of that. We have a head and shoulders pattern here where we've fallen off the shoulder. If you believe in Elliott wave theory, we have a 1, a 2, and a 3. We may be now defining the 4, but presumably that would indicate there's more downside to come. I would say in the short term, though, that things are looking positive as we are showing some oversold signals. RSI is below. We've broken through on the stochastic, indicating a at least short-term bump up, and our CCI is recovering. I wish I had better news because I own some shares of US Steel, but it looks not great for the long term. Hewlett-Packard, HPQ. Kramer says the company is splitting and I think the parts are worth more than the whole. However, it is a technology and technology is going lower. I think you can own it for a while, but you must understand that there is more pain ahead, and that is also implied in the charts. So we have had a long downtrend, but if you, again, look at it from Elliott wave theory, we have a 1, a 2, a 3. We're putting in a 4, likely going to touch against this resistance line, but we're likely to come back and hit a 5 wave. So sidle back into this territory. So you're looking for some, by 2016, some short-term pain, if you put on that timeline, with the hope of some long-term growth. So not great, but you can hold it if you want. Rite Aid, RAD. Kramer says Rite Aid is in a house of pain because it missed its forecast and it has a lot of debt, but it's moving in the right direction and he's going to hold on to it because it has fundamental value and because of the latest acquisitions. I would say it's in a ascending triangle pattern. kind of a loose one. It's going to rattle around in this area. If you're looking for a buying opportunity on it, you should be able to pick it up on the support line, so probably around $6 at some point in the near future. But obviously it has taken a massive plunge, so don't expect it to just reverse right away. All right, our last one today is White Wave Foods, WWAV. Kramer says it reported a terrific quarter and his charitable trust owns it. Is a stock that I do think is trying to find a bottom, and it wouldn't surprise me if it finds one not far from here. So let's see where not far from here is. Our big support line is this one here. That's the one that we want to see it ping against. I would say that it's certainly going to hit against it again. We can also probably draw another line here. This might be sort of the absolute bottom. I would say that if you like this stock, I would wait probably 3 or 4 weeks. It's going to rub up against this support line and it'll ping this bottom one briefly. And if you can catch that, I think that would be a good opportunity to get into it. You can see it touched it there. I think it's going to come back and touch it again. So yeah, keep watching it. All right, that's our show for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, please subscribe to the station, like the video, do all those fun things. They're really important. They help raise the notoriety of the show, which will allow me to do some fun things in the future. So please subscribe. All right, I will see you again next week. Ciao.